Hello, I'm Paul Harris from Mining Journal. I have the great pleasure to be joined today by Jeffrey Pontius, President and CEO of Corvus Gold. Hi Jeff, how are you?
Good, how are you, Paul?
Very well, thank you. Corvus has the North Bullfrog and Motherlode projects in Nevada, USA. Can you give me a brief overview of those to start with?
Yeah, they're two separate projects, but they're about 14 kilometers apart, so undoubtedly they'll be operated as one project as this district develops. The characterization of the North Bullfrog project is really one of outcropping oxide mineralization. There's a high-grade vein system there in the middle of that deposit, and that will be mined via open pit and heap leach. The Motherlode project is a sediment-hosted deposit. It's got a fair piece of that deposit that is sulfide mineralization, and another component of it that's oxide. So it'll be mined as the oxide mineralization going to a run-of-mine heap leach, and the sulfide mineralization going through a mill circuit, whole ore, and then with the recovery being bio-oxidation of the sulfide material to about 40% oxidation, and then followed by a CIL circuit. So both open pit operations, low strip, and pretty classic for Nevada. Okay,
well, what's the sort of global resource, minimum resource you have there?
Right now, in a resource study we did back in the latter part of 2018, we had 3.6 million ounces of gold, 8 million ounces of silver in open pit configuration. And we've been drilling since then, about 35,000 meters of drilling since we put that out. We'll be updating that resource. Looks like we'll probably push it close to about 4.5 million ounces.
When will that resource be updated?
Probably late September, early October. Working on it right now, actually.
Okay. Earlier this month, you had some very exciting news. You put out a news release of a new discovery at the Motherlode. Tell me a little bit about that and what that may mean for the project.
Yeah, it's an area we found when we started our follow-up drill program after the 2018 resource. We call it the CIZ, or Central Intrusive Zone. It's a series of dikes, intrusive dikes, that have come in along a very broad structural zone, roughly about 200 meters wide, multiple dikes that come through that area. And it is in the lower part of the Motherlode system. The original resource and deposit is up above, and then as we go through geologic contact, we go down into this CIZ zone. We're using a new drilling technique of pre-collaring the holes with RC and then drilling core tails or core extensions out the bottom. That's been very successful at getting across the zone. First hole we had results from was hole 123. We announced that, as you said, a week or so ago. That was substantial interval, 125 meters at 2.6 grams. It's an oxide zone, as we're down below in the oxide zone of this deposit. There's some very high-grade parts of this system, as well as very broad low-grade around those type of intercepts. Some of the best grade pieces are like about 14, 15 meters of greater than 8 grams a ton. It's unique from the standpoint geologically. It looks hotter. It looks like we're in a deeper part of the epithermal system here, one that we might characterize as intermediate sulfidation, which is it can be a very extensive type of mineralization. We're doing lots of drill holes within this target area, which is 500 meters along strike, a couple hundred meters wide, and we're drilling after a target zone that's about 300 meters thick. So we'll have another 25 drill holes before the end of the year of these deep holes into it, and we'll be evaluating it. The potential for this is certainly a resource expansion that's greater than the one we've currently announced back in 2018. So it would push the Motherlode deposit to 2.5 to 3 million ounce type range, and be a very significant new discovery in Western Nevada.
Well, your share price jumped about 50% on that announcement, so it certainly got the market excited. You also recently announced that you're going to do a belt-wide geophysical survey. What's the purpose of that, and how will that sort of bring the various deposits together?
Yeah, I think the key here is put the data together in a way in which we can look at the rest of the belt that highlights the key aspects of this. Key for us is the rock unit we're in. So we're in the what's called lower Paleozoic carbonate section for this mineralization. So that's an important aspect, and we should be able to map that using this AMT survey that we're doing. Also looking for big structural zones that cut that zone, that rock package, and particularly disturbances along those structural zones that we see in the geophysics that could indicate intrusive activity. So those are all key things that go into our targeting work. We've got a lot of surface data. We've got all the historic drill hole data from the belt, so which has generally been too shallow to intercept this target, but it does give us some pretty good targets. We're chasing some of those now. I think you can look forward to seeing something new coming from Corvus Gold this year. Some very encouraging targets are coming out of this that look positive for us right now.
Okay, more positive news this week. Your North Bullfrog and the Mother Lode are in the Walker Lane district, and more positive news this week in that AngloGold Ashanti, the gold major, indicated it's going to take its option to purchase the Silicon project, which is adjacent to both North Bullfrog and Mother Lode. So that's you must take a lot of encouragement from that.
Yeah, Anglo did a good job out here. They picked up an early stage exploration play, the kind of things that are all over Nevada and quite cheap to acquire. And they went out and what appears to have made a discovery, although we haven't seen any information announced from AngloGold. Certainly these kind of actions to go forward and take a very raw early stage exploration play and be willing to pay $3 million for it, as well as they were well on their way to getting their drill permit for a very extensive drill program. You're talking 150 plus acres of disturbance, and it looks like they'll be doing a major drill program. And that's on top of Coeur Mining, who are doing quite a bit of drilling around the Mother Lode deposit itself. They've got 3 rigs out there turning and quite aggressive out there. And they're very active in this same sort of terrain. So it's great news for us. In addition, we've seen quite a bit of claim staking go on by Kenross in the district. It's great for Corvus to be surrounded by 3 producers and all of them being quite active in the district. And you know, you're going to see a lot of good stuff come out of this district, I think, this year. And it really could emerge as another major gold producing area of Nevada here in the very, very near future.
Okay, well, your stock, I think, got about a 3% bump on the news that AngloGold is going to buy Silicon. And AngloGold is also a shareholder of yours, of course. Your strategy over the years, you've always been very clear that your exit strategy really is to sell on the projects, to find a partner, to basically sell them on. Is that still the case? Or is that sort of changing now?
Well, it's interesting as these projects have evolved, and particularly after we brought in our new chairman for our board, Ron Largent, who was the chief operating officer for AngloGold Ashanti until his retirement a little while ago. It really brings us a different perspective. We've been doing a pre-feasibility study on what we call phase 1 of North Bullfrog. It's a lower cost, get the project up and running rapidly kind of project that's heap leach. And that project looks really attractive right now. We're seeing this project likely going to be done at under 100 million of capex, initial capex, certainly within the bandwidth of a Corvus Gold now. And it's also had some pretty good production profile, 175,000 ounces a year for 5 years, with some follow-on additional ounces in the out years. It's looking like cash costs are going to be in the $500 range. This thing is looking very attractive to us right now. And it's a pretty simple project, low strip, open pit, heap leach, primarily here. So, you know, we are looking at what that can do. We're in a great gold environment right now. We just need to get all the information put together and see what is the best avenue for our shareholders. Corvus has always been focused on one aspect, and that's delivering shareholder value. And for us, that's share price. And we've been working hard on that and making a little headway here as we get involved in this next bull gold market here.
Okay, well, your market cap is just over $400 million Canadian at the moment, so financing a $100 million project would be within your reach. So maybe things have completely turned around and it'd be Corvus that consolidates a district rather than somebody else.
Well, certainly Corvus is much farther along than anyone else. We'll have to see how that goes. It seems like these big gold finds like this have a tendency to gravitate towards the majors. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see, even though we're pursuing this path in the future, that there be some consolidation that is probably driven by a much larger company in this district.
Okay, well, thanks very much for the update, Jeff. Wish you all the best for the plans for this year and speak with you in the future.
Sounds great, Paul. Talk to you later.